and you're the one pushing for the relationship, it goes against your sexual strategy, right? It's like a bird, a wild bird naturally wanting to fly into a cage. Like a woman just like in her hindbrain is not going to want that. That's why I say it's not your job to push for that relationship. Now, I have people argue with me, well, men traditionally are the ones that ask for hands in marriage, and they're the traditionally like forget that, right? That's not natural. That's not natural. That's society trying to control women's open hypergamy and trying to make marriage a thing. It's more about controlling the population than anything, right? It's more about population control. But if that's what you want, that's like I'm telling you, like don't look at it like it's a bad thing, okay? But you have to work with nature, human nature. And so if you want her to stay attracted to you and you want her to think of you as her best possible option, you have to be the guy that she locks down. That's why you don't bring up relationships. If you want to get married, you don't bring up marriage. Okay. Now you might be the one that does the whole thing where you give her the diamond ring and you ask her, but you wait. You absolutely wait until she's the one hinting at it. And that's how women will ask you. Okay. Even when it comes to a exclusive relationship, like you wait for her to bring it up, and women aren't direct. Women typically aren't direct. They're very roundabout. They like to hint at things. And so you just wait for her to hint at things. Right. And that's how she's asking you. And so when it comes to an exclusive long-term relationship, I'm not talking about marriage. Like what she'll say is like, so where's all this going? Like we've been dating for a few weeks now. I really just don't like the idea of you seeing other women, right? Like that's her way of saying I want to be exclusive. Okay, so you can't just immediately go, okay, well let's be exclusive then, right? Because then you're over eager. It goes against her nature, or it goes against your nature. Okay, it goes against your perceived nature. So you have to be like, well, what do you mean by that? Are you saying I got to throw out my black book? Like, what do you mean? You've got to be the guy that she has to like locked down. And once she locks you, like once she feels like she's been the one that's locked you down, like reluctantly locked you down, she's going to feel more invested. Like, oh, I finally got him. I got my prize. Right. That's a part of having her feel like you're her best hypergamous option. All right. So also a part of marriage, right? A part of marriage and why we even try to do this forced monogamy thing is it's a way for society to curb men's natural polygamous drive, right? If it was like acceptable for men to like go out and impregnate as many women as possible, like we wouldn't have child support laws. All that kind of stuff is there to dissuade you from overpopulating. That's really what it is. It's just it's to try to curb your polygamous drive down, and it's sort of a way to like sort of enforce women's natural sexual strategy on everybody, right? They use shaming tactics against men who embrace their polygamous nature. They call us cheaters. They call us players. Like they shame guys like Elon Musk for having multiple baby mamas, like all that kind of stuff, right? And the thing is that a lot of modern relationships end up failing because we're expected to be monogamous. We're expected to not exercise our polygamous nature, but hypergamy is open, right? If a woman just feels like she's no longer happy in her marriage, she can end it, and not only end it, but be rewarded for it, right? Because a vast majority of women don't make as much money as their husbands. There's a reason for that. It's because they're not looking for their same level. They're looking for a guy who's better than them in some way. Oftentimes it's monetary. So they don't want to. You'll never see a boss bitch lawyer dating a barista, right? But a CEO would totally date a barista. He totally would if she's hot, right? So the thing is that women are rewarded for it. So women are almost allowed and expected to be hypergamous. Like if this guy's not providing value in the marriage, like here, we'll give you a whole bunch of cash and prizes so you can go find a better hypergamous option for you, right? It's almost like they're rewarded for it. And here's a funny thing. Even the strong, independent boss bitch women, they still want a high value man. That's why you'll never see, a highfalutin female attorney dating a Starbucks guy. Seriously, anyway. It's because they still want a guy who's better. Like she wants if she's an attorney, she wants to date the head of the firm. You know what I mean? She wants someone that's better than them in some way. And because a guy who's like a rich attorney who has lots of options with all the chicks in the office, like he's probably banging his secretary. He's married, but he's banging the secretary and like all that kind of stuff. Like women are almost okay with it. They're almost okay with it as long as he makes tons of money, treats them right, and he's got a high enough status that when they're in public, like she feels like she's got higher status too. It's kind of a funny thing. Puck has a really famous quote about this. I did a whole series on the book of Puck. If you guys want to go to my YouTube channel and check that whole series out, but I did a whole series on the book of Puck. But this guy Puck had some really profound writing. And one of the things that he said was women would rather share an alpha than be saddled with a faithful beta, right? That's true. She would much rather be a side chick to a multimillionaire than be saddled with a beta guy that only makes $40,000 a year, right? That's just women's nature. That's their nature. So let me ask you this. If you understand this dynamic, or let me preface the rest of this. If you understand this dynamic, you could actually play the game instead of getting played. Okay. You could use this to your advantage. That's why I say, look at all of this as you got to do what's best for you. Okay. Now there's guys in the space who, they want to exercise their polygamous nature. I have a friend. He's been on the podcast a bunch of times. We used to do a panel show called The Mantastic Four. His name is Chuck Kohout, or he goes by Chuck Daddy on TikTok. Chuck, he's one of those guys that he likes to have a poly-mono relationship, is what he calls it, which means it's closed on his wife's end, but he's allowed to have side chicks and bang side chicks. And I don't understand why he does this, but whatever, to each their own. He, I think he's been married 2 or 3 times now. And each time he's very upfront and clear with his main pieces. Like, hey, I have these sexual needs and I exercise them, but you are not allowed to. And if you're going to be with me, if you're going to be married to me, then these are the terms. I have to be allowed to go have side chicks and not have any questions asked. Okay. But you're mine. You're my girl. Right. And every single one of them has been okay with it at first because he's a millionaire. He's a millionaire, real estate mogul in New Jersey. So they've all been okay with it at first until he gets them pregnant. And then as soon as they get pregnant, everything changes. They're like, I don't like this anymore. I don't like you stepping out. And now it's a big deal. And so his latest wife, who, her name is Deanna. She was on his TikToks and stuff like this is all public stuff. Like she ended up divorcing him, right? Like they had a kid. And so now he's going through the ringer again. I'm like, why the fuck do you keep doing this to yourself, man? Why do you keep doing this to yourself? To me, if you want to exercise polygamy, like just don't get married, right? Don't get married. It's like just casually spin plates.
New episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Subscribe now.